Tim,
Yes, Alan.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good, we're rolling. Why do you think exercise should be an important part of everybody's life?
It's part of balance, mainly, and our body needs to move. Like, I've got to ask this question, like, to when we were at Top Town, Hayley Holt comes over and she asked me, so what advice could you give New Zealand about, about exercise or about health? And I said to get up and move. And of course they didn't hear that, unfortunately, but it was a really good piece of advice, because it's really important. You have to move. There's the good old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that applies to everything in life. Your brain, your body, and in some respects your soul.
It's all very simple.
Very, very simple. It's part of that balance. And to exercise. We've been doing it for, since humanity got onto this planet. Who knows what time that would have been. But we had to move. We had to survive, so we had to move. And we are animals, so it is important.
How much exercise do you recommend, Tim?
How much exercise? It really depends on the person, doesn't it? Like, and what they do for a living. If you have a sedentary job, then you're going to need to move a little bit more. And the reason you need to move is you're still living, you're still going about your daily lives, you're still using your brain if you're at the desk working away, and your body is still creating toxic metabolites. And your lymphatic system is what sponges that stuff up and helps you get rid of it via fecal matter, breath, sweat, and so on. But if you don't move, the lymphatic system cannot circulate. That's why it's so important. So elderly get really swollen ankles, knees, and hips and joints. They get basically swelled up with toxic metabolites, part of lymph. They haven't been able to, because they don't move, they haven't been able to just get it circulating around the body, going through the proper processes so they can eliminate it and get rid of it. That's why exercise is so important.
So by moving, that could be any sort of movement?
Yeah, pretty much any kind of movement. Like, obviously if you're debilitated for whatever reason, then you're going to be limited to some degree. But like 20 minutes a day of a brisk walk, especially first thing in the morning, is typically enough for most people, as far as general health and well-being is concerned. Some would argue you do need a little bit more, but if you compared it to what we would have had to have done if we didn't have cars or items of convenience, you would do more, because you have to.
So why first thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning, your elimination cycle is in full bloom, and you really have a cable waiting to be laid. So you need a crap.
So you very good, sir. So what's your take on exercise for rehabilitation?
Yeah, a good question. It's probably the most important part of your recovery. So after an injury, let's just say you have some surgery, as soon as you can, as soon as the swelling's down enough, you need to move. You need to get that thing moving back as much as you can into its normal, natural movement patterns. And like, here's another adage for if you don't use it, you lose it. If your body can go and bend in a certain direction, bend it there. It's the simple truth of it all. I learnt at an institution, I really shouldn't put a name in there because that would just be non-PC. And that's just so not like me. But anyway, we had this instructor telling us that, when you're doing lunges, not to have your knee go over your ankle. And like, I thought, well, that's really different compared to what we had to do in gymnastics. If we wanted to compete and compete well, we put our bodies and our joints and our limbs everywhere we could, because they went there. We didn't break our backs or anything, but our body would do incredible things if we let it, and we would take it to the greatest range of motion we could. And so, so the information I got from this particular Sports Institute instructor was very flawed and based on playing it safe for I don't know what reason. So if you can move it there. If it can bend it there. Get your leg right up or whatever. Just move it.
What if you can't move?
What if you can't move? A lot of the time it's because you haven't put yourself in that position. And when you were 2 or 3 years old, playing in the sandpit or outside in the garden, you were down in a squat, your heels were down, you were, canasted over, and everybody would be commenting, oh, I wish I had that flexibility and that subtlety. You do, if you keep at it. It's like anything. If you don't use it, you lose it. It's quite simple.
In your opinion, what's the biggest limiting factor for people concerning exercise?
Attitude. The biggest limiting factor for people and exercise and movement is attitude. Whereas they won't see it as something important. They'll see it as, no, I don't have time for that. And if you're honest with yourself, you do have time for that. If you have time to sit down and watch an hour and a half or 2 hours of television, then you have time to exercise. You just have not put the emphasis and the importance on it. So it's just your attitude on it. And yeah, you can have a long, hard day where you've been working on the computer, but it's not physical. Yes, it will be mentally demanding. Yes, it will be mentally draining. But once you start moving and get yourself into the habit of that, it'll soon become very easy. But people allow themselves to become lazy. And yet, the excuse of, I work hard, and I call it an excuse because, everybody works hard. And you'll be looking at somebody, some of you may look at someone, man, I wish I was that fit. It's just so impressive. And if you looked at him and looked at what his day was, you'll find that he fits a lot in his day. When you are a little bit fit, when you're used to, and you have some muscle tone and you're free in your movements, everything works better, your organs work better because you've been allowed to remove your toxins, so you become more energetic. You just become more energetic because you've got good circulation and so on. So therefore you have more energy. And your day, of working hard at the desk, will seem like nothing. It's just what you do. So it really is attitude. It's the biggest limiting factor. Often there'll be, there might be some kind of dis-ease or some other form of condition that limits how much you can exercise, but that's all it does, is it only limits it. It doesn't stop you, it just limits you. And often, if you're determined enough, you'll find a way to make it happen. But that's where you've got to have that attitude where you think it's important, where you want it to be an important part of your life.
Let's say I haven't been exercising for 20 years. I don't eat particularly well, and I'm a little bit overweight in that. Let's say well over 100 kg.
Yeah.
It just seems a pretty hard step to take to, it's so easy just to carry on the way I'm going. What's the point? Why change? I'm happy.
You're happy? Yeah. Well, going from the video we did about, say, food choices, or it was really about responsibility to yourself. If you are overweight, you haven't exercised for 20 years, and you have all of those things, are you truly happy? Are you truly happy with that? Are you happy with being 100 kilograms overweight, not being able to see your Johnson if you stand up? You've got a massive brander over your toolbox. That ain't natural. How is that going to help with your happiness? And sure, you may have that, oh, that's fine, I can live like that, that's no problem. But it is a problem if you can't put on your shoes, if your joints start to ache, if you get a sore back. All of these sorts of things, all of these pains, all of these limitations are not part of a healthy lifestyle. And you can have a strong mind and what have you, but if you don't have, say, a body that is going to help you enjoy your life, if it's going to limit you from enjoying your life, then it is almost certainly going to affect your happiness. which is important. You are an animal, and as an animal, you know, you need to eliminate, you need to move, you need to be an animal, but you need to be whole. Being 100 kilograms, or being, which isn't that heavy, but being super overweight and not being able to step up on something that's as high as your knee, or you know, do a little jump, and all these sorts of things you would have not even thought about as a kid. Not being able to do that, you will always have in the back of your mind, wish I could do that again.
Okay. In a typical consultation, Tim, what is the most important thing you do to get your clients' confidence?
I listen to them. Simply listen to them. I had two elderly women, say today and yesterday, that simply listening to them, you could see them relax. You could see that they, oh, okay, somebody's actually going to listen to me, because the elderly do get a hard time in this country. Like, they'll go to the doctor, they have pain, and they'll want the doctor to help them. Unfortunately, because the doctor is under a lot of pressure for time, and like they'll put more time into somebody that's younger. So these elderly people, they don't really get listened to, and it's sad. And whereas like the examples of these ladies that I've had, simply listen to them, give them what they need to hear, and stuff that they haven't realised, but simple stuff like drinking water. And it's the elderly generation don't drink water, and it's so important to help them, help their medications work, and to help them feel better, help their joints move, help get them out of the seat simply to go for a piss. That's exercise in itself. But yeah, it really is. It comes down to the fact that I just listen to them, and then I offer suggestions from there and do what I need to do.